Hi everyone. Welcome to your meditation today. My name is Kremi Arabajieva, and I'm really excited to be here to be sharing this practice with each and every one of you. So we will start with a brief introduction so we can kind of introduce the meditation practice and where we're headed and why we're headed in that direction. So if you have any questions throughout the session, particularly in this space, please don't hesitate to let me know. So today we're going to go into a mindfulness-based meditation practice, and I'll talk a little bit more about mindfulness as a practice in just a moment. Meditation has been around for a very long time, with the first written text to be the Vedas, which came out from ancient India. So we're talking like 1500 BCE, so very long time. And particularly, the meditation culture has changed a lot in the time. But one thing is for sure, people are still turning to it. And, my hope is now more than ever to support themselves in daily life. And that's why we're here today. So a few things about meditation. I know one of the things that folks like hearing about is like, why should I practice this? Like, what are the actual documented benefits? And so I want to talk a little bit about that. One of the things that I find so fascinating is that as we age, meditation, there's studies that show that folks who have some sort of regular practice, it doesn't have to be like 30 minutes every day, but a little bit each day, we're noticing that when scientists do brain scans of the folks that meditate versus don't meditate, we're noticing that there's actually a preservation of gray matter within the folks that do meditate, right? So we're able to, as we age, preserve more of that gray matter. Another study that was so interesting, done out of Yale, talked about mindfulness kind of being a support, a remedy for, I don't know if you all have heard this terminology, the monkey mind. Well, that is in essence like kind of the nonstop dialogue that tends to happen. Now, there's a part of the brain that's responsible for that. And so this study essentially has taught us that those who meditate have less activity in that part of the brain, which is known as the default mode network. So if you tend to identify with this, if you tend to notice like the monkey mind in yourself, know that this is one of the most supportive, things that you could do for yourself in a free and natural way. Additionally, mindfulness has been studied for support with emotional regulation and just emotional awareness in general. It's known to enhance our concentration, enhance our focus, enhance our creative thinking processes as well. So there's really actually so much that we are starting to prove scientifically that, ancient folks have shared with us way back when in 1500 BCE. And so really my ask here is not to necessarily look at just this in its entirety, but actually to experience it for yourself. So that's kind of the direction that we're going in. This is just to really set a framework. Additionally, I want to share a little bit more about one of the biggest benefits, at least that a lot of us maybe are experiencing right now, is stress, right? Stress is like a very real thing. And what happens when we meditate, and particularly when we do breath work, is we're actually having a conversation to relax our what we call parasympathetic nervous system. So if you know a little bit about the nervous system, you know that the autonomic system is comprised of sympathetic nervous system, which is that fight or flight response, so the stress response. That's one prong. And then we have the parasympathetic nervous system, and that is like the rest and digest and relax response. So when we meditate, we essentially allow our body to transition into the parasympathetic nervous system. And this is really powerful because in that parasympathetic nervous system, all of the other bodily functions can process as usual because they're not focusing on survival, which is, if there's something stressful that comes up, we go into sympathetic state, fight or flight response. And really our body is prioritizing the production of cortisol, and adrenaline, and allocating that to the legs and the arms, right? This makes sense. We want to run away to safety, so to say. However, when we're meditating, when we're showing up, we're actually activating the opposite prong, which is, again, that parasympathetic nervous system. And this allows our body to digest the food that it needs to digest to absorb all the nutrients. It also allows our immune system the ability to function at its prime, right? So that makes sense, is like when we're stressed, it's more likely that we get sick. It's because our body's not really prioritizing digestion or immunity or anything like that. So it's really, really important. And we talk about stress as being one of the biggest things. So certainly you'll get to experience this relaxation in this practice. But mindfulness is really a whole lifestyle, right? So you could always take it a step further if you wanted to. And mindfulness, this last thing I'm going to share is really a deeper form of awareness, and it's showing up to life, to the moment to moment, with that deeper focus, deeper element of awareness. So it's not necessarily like an activity that you do, but it is a way in which you show up. And so I'll take you through the meditation version of that. But just know that mindfulness and meditation are not necessarily synonyms, although we can have a mindfulness-based meditation. So this is just like the whole Spark Notes on Meditation 101. I'm going to go ahead and get us started into our meditation practice. Really, there's nothing that you need to do other than take a comfortable seat of your choice. I do recommend, if you're sitting in a chair, that you can feel the soles of the feet on the ground. So just make sure that you can feel the ground underneath you. That tends to be really relaxing. If you're sitting on the floor, you can sit on a cushion or a blanket. You can even take this practice lying down, but it does get really relaxing, so you might fall asleep. So I always recommend maybe taking it sitting up if you can. All right, so finding that comfortable seat, whatever that means to you, let's go ahead and close our eyes and bring your attention inward. And notice where your attention currently is. Maybe you're noticing what's happening in the mind. Maybe you're starting to really ground into the body. Or maybe your attention might be kind of in a few places at once. And that's okay too. Collectively, we're going to take our awareness and ground it into the soles of the feet if we're sitting on a chair. Or maybe if you're sitting on a cushion or on the floor, you can feel the floor underneath you. So you're going to bring your awareness to the sits bones. So find the space in which your body connects to the floor or the chair or whatever you have underneath you. And so if that's your feet, maybe invite a gentle, slow wiggle of the toes up and down. Beautiful. And you can almost imagine that you have little roots growing out from underneath the soles of the feet, allowing those roots to anchor you into this moment. And as you're doing so, we're going to take 3 deep breaths. Breathe in through the nose and open the mouth to exhale, sigh something out. So we'll take 3 breaths just like this. Two more. Last one. Beautiful, everyone. And so noticing the whole of the physical body now. Notice if there are parts of the body where you feel sensation. Those sensations can be either areas of relaxation or maybe areas of tension. And one is not wrong, one is not better than the other. In mindfulness-based practice, we're really just focusing on what is showing up for us and what is happening in this present moment. Taking a moment to just connect with your body. Maybe for some of us, this is one of the first times that we've been doing this today. Beautiful. And now we're going to expand our awareness to notice what's happening emotionally. And I always say this, permission to be human here, permission to be exactly where you are. And so we're not trying to push anything down, we're not trying to push anything away. No, we're actually meeting ourselves in this moment, in whatever feeling is arising. We're not getting lost in the story, we're not getting lost in the emotion, but we're allowing ourselves to notice and to feel it. Beautiful, everyone. And now we'll transition to notice what's happening in the mind. And depending on what you're showing up with today, there may be a lot or a little or somewhere in between. And one isn't better than the other. We are once again just practicing showing up and noticing. And that's more than enough. And the visual that I like to give folks here is I want you to imagine that you are the blue sky and your thoughts are essentially all the different small clouds that come and go across this whole limitless sky. And so often, especially when there's so many clouds and so many thoughts, it's so easy for us to forget who we are. And often we think we're the clouds, but ultimately we are the sky. And these thoughts come up within our experience, but they are not us. They do not define us. And so creating a little bit of space between you, the observer, and your thoughts, which are essentially the energies that we're noticing. And so take a moment to just be aware of this, not needing to shift or change or manage or control anything. Just becoming curious about what's arising without needing to get lost in any one particular story. Beautiful, everyone. And so now we're going to transition into our breathwork practice for the day. And this particular breath is known to be an incredible tool anytime you feel anxious or stressed or overwhelmed or like you don't have enough time or like you just need time to slow down. This is an incredible breath work to take. And so I will guide you through the first few times and then I will indicate when to count on your own. So we're going to be inhaling on a count of 4 and exhaling on a count of 6. And so at your next inhalation, inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, two, one. Now continue to breathe in this way. Inhale on a count of four and exhale on a count of six. Counting at your own breath rhythm. If you feel at any moment this becomes too constricting, you can adjust as necessary. You can always inhale on a count of three, exhale on a count of four or five. Really, the goal here is to make sure that we're exhaling for slightly longer than we are inhaling. And if your mind wanders, I want to normalize that this is a absolutely normal part of the mindfulness meditation process. This happens, and this does not mean that you cannot meditate. It means you are simply human. And so the moment that you notice that happening, notice that you notice it happening, and bring your awareness back into the counting of the breath. So this is also a great breath to take, because the likelihood is if you're no longer counting, it's a direct indication that your mind has wandered. So counting that breath can be like an anchor that you have into the present moment. So continue to come back to the counting when your mind wanders. With each and every inhalation, visualizing fresh oxygen flow in through the nostrils as it travels through the entirety of the torso, relaxing and releasing any stress, any tension, anything that no longer serves from your day. And as you exhale out, letting go of those things that you no longer wish to hold on to. You can imagine them leaving your body almost as though an ice cube is melting on a hot summer day and floating away, letting something go. Bringing in the new with your inhale in, letting go of the old and the stale with the exhalation out. Beautiful, everyone. So let's take 3 more controlled breaths in that way. In on 4, out on 6. And once you've taken your 3rd and final breath, I invite you to let go of the counting, let go of the controlling of anything, and take a moment to connect to your natural breathing. Your natural breath is an invitation, an opportunity to begin again at any moment throughout your day. It has your back through any and every situation. And so I'll invite you to take a moment once again to connect to your physical, emotional, and mental bodies and to notice if anything may have shifted. And there's no right or wrong here. It doesn't really matter what experience you are having. It's way more important to take this time to practice noticing what experience you are having. It is in this noticing where we can actually take this practice off the meditation cushion and into our lives, checking in with ourselves more regularly so that we can balance and self-care accordingly. So taking the last few moments to yourself, giving yourself permission to simply just be present. Knowing that in a little bit, we'll open up our eyes again and come back into the space. But for now, this is a nice little pause. Beautiful, everyone. Know that you can come back here at any moment in time that you'd like. This space is always available to you. And together, I'll have us bring our palms at the heart space, big thumbs touch the chest. Taking a moment to connect to the very beating of our heart. Taking a moment to connect to at least 3 things that we feel grateful for in this moment. And to seal in our practice, we'll inhale in through the nose and open the mouth to exhale. Sigh something out. Beautiful. You can drop your palms down onto your lap and slowly take some gentle movement here. It's going to feel really nice, maybe lifting your arms overhead, going for a side body stretch. And at your own time, you can blink the eyes open and slowly begin to come back into the space. I'm going to turn off the recording because I want to create a little bit of space for comments, feedback, questions.